on club standards, if Ten Hag was the manager of Spurs and did the same as he did with United the past 2 seasons, he would be considered a legend, right?
That's a great super chat. That's a great super chat. Because it's true. If he would have won them 2 trophies, Tottenham, that's all they care about. Tottenham would be like, oh, that'll do. At least we got the 2 trophies in. You know what I mean? That's a great super chat, man. Love that.
Yeah, and it would be. I mean, this is a team that I don't think, again, I'm not being horrible, just compared to, there is no comparison between Man United and Tottenham. Historically, recently, in my lifetime, we're not the same. We're just not. So, yeah, absolutely, that would be great for Tottenham. The level between Arsenal and Tottenham is in 3 years is when you go back 3 years ago, Spurs were a better team. But again, Arsenal, they're not over the line yet. But they've just been run so much better in the last 3 years, and you can see it because the teams that haven't been run well in that time, they've left behind. The teams that they either haven't overtaken or they've caught up with, but are run well. It's just,
I think as well, what people don't always think or want to say, some Arsenal fans don't want to say, but it's true. The reason Spurs have been closer to Arsenal is because Arsenal have been crud for about 20 years now. Let's be real. In terms of the league, we are the team that have fallen off. You know, we were winning titles and we were winning doubles and we were winning FA Cups. In the last 20, we won a few FA Cups, which I'm still not happy about. But Tottenham have gone to that level of being, we're finally up with Arsenal. No, you're up with top 4 and we dropped down to top 4. You know, it wasn't Tottenham and Arsenal gunning like we are now with Man City, was it? So Tottenham are really, really happy with how brilliant they are. Well, we're just crap at the moment, and you've caught up with us. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's what I don't know. It's just
no. I hear you because you could think about the hardest man in the world right now. Let's just say the toughest man in the world, John Jones or Pereira or Anthony Joshua, hardest men in the world. There's a 5-year-old little boy somewhere in the world. At some point in time, that 5-year-old boy will be able to beat those men up. There'll come a point where he's in his 30s or 40s. And they're old men and they can't move, right? There comes a point where, I'm as tough as Anthony Joshua now. Yeah, but he's 80 and you're 25. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly that.
And that's it's perspective sometimes. It really, really is. All Spurs fans, top 4 is a trophy. No, not for all. Not for all. I know the expressions was a trophy. Spurs fans shouldn't be stressing about competing. You can't rely on set pieces to win you the league. I think so. I think that's a dig at you boys.
Oh, I'll say, listen, I agree with that. I don't think we can rely on set pieces to win us the league. I think we've got to play a lot better than we have done, right? But I look at it and I think, like there is part of our game now that is a huge strength that I don't think has been for quite some time, to be honest with you. And I think Nicholas Jova, to be fair, has come in and Arteta has praised him and said how great he has been. So, yeah, man, like set pieces it's part of the game, though, boys, isn't it? It's part of the game.
Yeah. Well, it is. I've got to say as well, I've said it before, I've got to say it again because it's that bad. Romero on that corner was embarrassing. It absolutely shambolic. I mean, I don't even know what he's doing. I mean, the thing is with Romero, on his day, he's not a bad player, is he? Let's be honest. But he's just so inconsistent. He's so inconsistent in some of these big games. Like, it's crazy. And that's the difference between like a world-class centre-half, and someone like Romero. Romero is a good centre-half. He is. But, you're not going to win titles with him. You ain't. Not consistent. He reminds me of Otamendi. Let's see. He reminds me of Otamendi. Otamendi was a player that, like, on his day, was a solid centre-half, but just sometimes just looked like he'd never played football before. So, they need a lot of work. I think Spurs are in trouble. So to wrap up this segment, because I know you want to move on, I think Spurs are in trouble. I think the next couple of years wouldn't surprise me if they don't play Champions League football now for the next 5-6 years.
Wow, you could be very right.
Because the reason I say that, right? Let's just say for 1 second, City don't get relegated. City not going anywhere. Arsenal not going anywhere, right? You got Villa and Newcastle coming through. Yeah, Liverpool at this moment in time still have the top players, but obviously they're running out of contracts. If they can keep hold of them, they won't be going anywhere. Chelsea are moving mad and spending crazy money, actually showing slight signs of improvement. I look at a team like Spurs and say, how do you get back in the top 4? I think they're in trouble, man. I think they're in trouble.
I think you could be very, very right. Speaking of world-class centre-backs, are you a little bit worried that Saliba might get poached by Real Madrid? There's also talk of Rodri as well. I mean, I've got a tendency to believe these stories. I look at Rodri and Saliba, and I do think, why would Madrid not want them? Especially with maybe the age of the defenders and midfielders at the club. Are you a bit worried that Saliba's head could be turned by Real Madrid?
Massively. Yeah, massively. I think we're all right for now. But we need to win stuff. If we don't start winning Premier Leagues and Champions Leagues and trophies, then why would he not go to Real Madrid? Listen, I think he's going to go to Real Madrid anyway at some point. I just hope it isn't very soon. I think he's happy enough at the moment. He looks happy. Doesn't look like he wants to go anywhere. But there's no doubt that Rodri, Saliba, and Trent will all be looking at Real Madrid going, yeah, go on in. Well, everyone does, don't they? The minute Real Madrid do that, it's a different knock. That's what they say, right? So I've got no doubt that they will go. I've got no doubt that one day they'll probably want Haaland. I've got no doubt they'll want these players because that's what they do. Real Madrid want that, right? Whether they'll go is a different question. Am I worried? Absolutely, I am. And I'm not worried because Saliba might go, because as I say, I think he will potentially go at one stage. I hope it's when he's 28, not when he's 23, right? So for me, I think the only way that you keep him till the age of around 27, 28 is you win stuff. And that's what Arsenal have got to do now. We absolutely have to keep him happy by winning, because he isn't going to want to be challenging and kind of second to Man City when he can go and win stuff with Real Madrid. So it's just facts.
Pay him the money, man. Pay him the money, bro.
Well, at the moment we've got him under contract, and there is talk that we are going to be offering him and Saka and the guys another contract at the end of this season. And it's got to be big money, man. It's got to be big money.
He's on 190,000 a week now. I was looking at Real Madrid's. That's according to he's probably paid a little bit more than that, but let's look at the Real Madrid salaries for a moment, because I think Madrid want him. They want him for, to come in essentially and be one of their main centre backs. I'm just seeing what their top centre backs are earning now. So David Alaba is earning 32,000 a week. Jude Bellingham,
that was a free transfer though, wasn't it?
Yeah, true. Milito's on 200. Yeah, Milito's on 280,000. Rudiger is on 280,000. So at the very least, you've got. I think Arsenal have got to start winning, as you say. On top of that, Danny Carvajal's only on 200 grand a week. Now I'd say only. I'm just thinking. I say that because Danny's what's his name? Ceballos is on the same money, according to this website. But I think what you're going to have to do to Saliba is start winning, yes. And I think you're going to have to turn around and go, and there's 350 grand a week. This is where wage structures have to be looked at, because otherwise, forget how much he loves your club. They are professionals. If he's offered 250 grand a week at Arsenal, but Real Madrid go, look, there's 350, there's 400. It is such a huge amount of money. And so many of these footballers support their extended families, charities, businesses. By the way, they lose half of it intact anyway, right? So it's just, that's one thing. Arsenal will have to pay big, big money. What about Rodri? Because obviously being Spanish as well, and I know he already played for Ati, but is that a concern? Because he's at an age now where if he's going to go Madrid, it's going to have to be soon.
Maybe, but he's contracted for 3 years, and according to the reports from Sam Lee today, they can't afford him, and they can't match his wage. Because City have done what I said Arsenal should do with Saliba. City have apparently offered Rodri like Kevin De Bruyne money, and rightly so as well, by the way. You know what I mean? Because he deserves it. He's that good. And Real Madrid apparently can't match it. So I think Real Madrid are just basically waiting to see what happens with these charges, and if we get thrown out the league, then they'll strike. But otherwise, I don't think he'll go.
They'll take them all.
Well, they probably will, yeah. But no, that's what I think.
How old is Rodri? Is Rodri 29?
28.
He's 28 years old, currently on 220 grand a week. Yeah, the new offer's got a bit, as you say, it's got to be sort of 400k a week, hasn't it? It's got to be absolutely massive.
I think it'll be 350 plus and maybe close to 400. That's what De Bruyne's pretty much on, and I don't think Real Madrid will do that. But the thing is, if Real Madrid go for it, obviously, if we're still in the league, like we could maybe go for one of theirs, because they've got, they've got Tchouaméni, they've got Camavinga. I think Camavinga's a baller, by the way.
Yeah, he is.
If you could get him on in return, that'd be insane. So now I think ours is just largely dependent on 115.
How are you getting Camavinga when you're in League Two, bruv?
Hopefully Chelsea come down with us, and then
Chelsea with you.